Hey guys, Happy New Year's. Welcome to 2026.
We're here, Legacy Lab, kicking off an awesome year.
Yep. Since it's 2026, I think today is a good day to be talking about some goals.
That's right, everyone is fired up. They're going into 2026. They've made their lists, they've set their goals, they're fired up, their motivation is super high. So today's topic is going to be just that.
Yep. Goals and how your motivation isn't going to save you all the time.
That's right. It's great to make goals and set goals. Everyone needs goals. It's awesome. I do it. You do it.
Yeah.
But it's not, you shouldn't base them on motivation
Yep.
because they will fizzle out and you won't accomplish them.
Yeah, I agree. So, since it's a new year and everyone's excited to be become a new person and become better, I think that we should talk about how motivation is high at this time and how it fizzles out.
Yeah. Because once it wears off, like the newness, the excitement of the goals you just set, you're gonna have to find other ways to stay on track and meet those goals because motivation is not going to stay for 365 days all year long. Like
Mhm.
that's just not realistic.
And once motivation kind of like fizzles out and you're just like kind of going back to your regular old self, or not regular old self, but kind of lack of motivation, um you really need to rely on discipline, because discipline is what's going to get you through those hard times when you lack motivation and when you don't necessarily want to do the habit that will reach you to your goal.
That's right. So that's a great thing. What you just said is our habits. So one of the things that we've talked about previously on an episode are building those daily habits because like we've been saying we're beating a dead horse now, but motivation will fade. And once that does, it's fine to make goals when you're motivated and you're excited. That's actually awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to put a plan in place to follow once motivation fades away. And one of the habits, and actually one of the things to do to create a successful method, is setting new standards for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because goals are awesome, but in order to reach your goals, you actually need to become a different person. You
Yeah.
need to raise your standards. So it's more about like leaning into the person that you need to become and setting new standards for yourself.
Yeah, because if you have low standards and a high goal, then you're just going to fall back to your low standards, because at the end of the day, your goal isn't that like extreme if your standards are low.
That's right. So one example of like setting a new standard is just like something very basic. So keeping your house clean.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say like you're want to set a New Year's goal of like always having a clean house. Motivation's high, January 1st, you clean the house, it's spick and span, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But as the days and weeks go on, kids' sports, work, all the things start to come about, that motivation to keep your house clean is going to fade.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to raise your standard. And what that means is, are you going to accept having a dirty house, like a messy house? Or is your new standard having a spick and span, like really clean house?
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to ask yourself in that moment, like, what is my standard? Is my standard a messy house or is my standard a clean house?
Mm-hmm. And also a good way to set standards to reach your goal is making smaller habits to help you reach that goal,
Mm,
like the stacking habits or whatever that we talked about previously. Like, you don't have to clean your whole house 100% of the time. You could start with just the kitchen and then the next day do just your living room and just keep on stacking those.
that's right. That's a great point. Like, it's small daily actions
Mm-hmm.
that are going to help you get the goals. Because a lot of times when people set goals, they're big goals and they start thinking, holy crap, like, how am I going to reach that goal? It's so big. But in reality, you just have to like chunk it down into smaller steps.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at, I want to do X by the end of the year. That's 365 days. Well, guess what? We got 12 months. So start breaking it down by month, and then you can go by week, and then you can go by day, and then it's just like the little daily habits each day that are going to get you closer and closer to the goal in 365 days.
Yeah.
So Kenzie, do you have any examples for the audience of like a goal that you have and how you're going to like break it down into smaller like daily habits and raise your standards to meet that goal?
Yeah, so a big goal going into 2026 is that I want to have a more positive mindset and outlook on a lot of things. In some ways that I'm going to do that is for the last couple of days, I've been waking up and doing a gratitude journal.
Mhm.
And then I end my day, like, it's this journal where it's like you journal in the morning, a list of things or whatever it says, and then at night you reflect on your day. And that's a good way to just wake up and have some positivity. And then I'm going to raise my standard by not allowing that negativity into my life when it's not necessary or at all, really.
That's awesome. Because I have heard you give examples of how you reframe
Mhm.
things that sometimes you're not like super excited about or could be negative, but like you reframe it into a positive, and that's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, one goal that I have this year is I want to read more, and I am not consistent with it. I wasn't consistent with it in 2025,
Mhm.
so I want to read on a consistent basis. So I'm going to set aside time during my day to read, and I'm just going to set small goals,
Mhm.
like 10 pages a day. And when my days get crazy, I'm going to think to myself, am I willing to accept not reading, or is my new standard reading on a daily basis, regardless? Because I know that reading is going to like fuel my mind, give me knowledge, and expand my creativity, my imagination, and all the things. So in the moment when I'm like, oh geez, I don't have time, or it's going to be really hard to fit in my reading, I'm just going to think about my standard of like, am I a type of person that reads, or am I a type of person that doesn't read? What is my standard?
Yeah, and I think another good point is that when you do raise your standard, it's really hard or like you disappoint yourself when you don't reach that standard because it's really especially if you repeatedly miss it. It's like wow, like it's really disappointing.
Yeah, because reframing that's actually, as you were saying that, I was asking myself the question, like, am I the type of person that reads or not reads? Like, what is my standard? And asking yourself that question and answering it like no, like just saying no, I'm not the type of person that reads to yourself, like that disappointed me.
Yeah.
So I think that's an awesome like key takeaway is like ask yourself those questions.
Hmm.
And
Just
when
be really real with yourself and vulnerable and just really open up. I
Yeah,
think
and that will create the motivation
yeah.
to do it, because if like you say no, you're going to be disappointed, but if you say yes and you do it, like that's going to create such like a positive mindset, and it's going to be like, "Oh, I am the type of person." It's going to get you fired up. It's going to get you back into that motivated state.
Yeah, because when you think positively about yourself and about what you do, it really does like just get you excited and get you excited for everything that you're gonna do.
Totally agree. It's the small daily habits, the small wins
Mhm.
that just like keep building that motivation. It gets you back into the motivation, and then it builds the confidence to be like, "Oh, I can do this. I can do hard stuff. I can reach my
Yeah,
goals."
because it's really it is motivating to see like everything that you can do and everything that you can accomplish when you really set your mind to it.
Yeah. That's another good thing to have the audience be aware of is like celebrate the wins.
Mhm.
Get in a cadence of like looking back, reflecting, like whether it's on a weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis. Make sure you take a step back, because the year is so long and it just gets crazy. There's so much going on. Make sure you do take a minute to like sit down and be like, okay, what did I do that worked and it went well and helped me move towards my goals? What didn't work? What do I need to adjust?
Mhm.
And then reflect on like, oh, these are some wins that I had.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to like always like be resetting, tracking your progress towards your goals and making sure you are hitting them.
Yeah, I love that. Another important thing that we should try to remember is that you need to remind yourself of your goals because sometimes life gets crazy and you get lost and get lost track of your goals, but you really just need to remind yourself every day and I journal every night and I remind myself of my goals and what habits I'm doing to reach those goals.
Yeah, that is key because sure, it's January 1st, you wrote down your goals, you have them in your head, you're motivated, you're fired up, and then you go back to work. All of the things that we talked about happen. So one thing that you should do is definitely review those goals. Pull them out daily, whether you journal about them or just pull them out through the day or habit stack. Like for me, every time I eat numerous times a day. So every time I eat, just pull out your goals
Mhm.
and just review them. And it doesn't have to be this long exercise. It literally, while you're eating, pull out your goals, read through your goals. It refreshes them, keeps them forefront in your mind, and you're always thinking about them and like how you can like move towards those goals.
Yeah, I agree. I think a danger of building goals on emotions is this is kind of going a different way, but a danger of building your goals on emotions is that when you set your goals based on emotions, you're going to go all in and you're going to have that all or nothing mindset
Mhm.
and you're going to burn out really quick, but you need to find little habits that help you sustain that goal.
Totally agree. um yeah, when you're in positive emotions, like you're just gonna go hard, but as soon as you start, one thing goes wrong, like the emotions, kind of fade and you'll burn out. So like one saying that I love is don't let your emotions fly the plane.
Mhm.
You have to follow the plan and execute regardless of whether you're feeling awesome or whether you're feeling crappy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about a few different dangers of setting goals and how they could go off track. So we've talked about emotions, we've talked about motivation, we've talked about raising your standards.
Mhm.
The other thing that we should talk about, and another great reframing question, is what are you not willing to tolerate? So the question of what am I no longer willing to tolerate is a great one. So it's kind of like it's along the same lines as the standards question of like, am I a person who reads or am I a person who doesn't read?
Mhm.
So when you're thinking about something, like what are you no longer willing to accept? So let's use the gym, for example. So you're setting a New Year's goal of like getting in shape. You want to like lose weight or you want to gain muscle or you're going to do a competition or you're setting some type of fitness challenge. And it's something that you've never done before. So you ask yourself, what am I no longer willing to tolerate? So if you've had like a goal that you've wanted to do for a long time, let's say you want to run like a half a marathon or a marathon, you have to ask yourself, what am I no longer willing to tolerate? And what that means is like, am I willing to tolerate negotiating with myself?
Mm.
Say to yourself, look, I've been wanting to run a marathon or half marathon forever. And for the past 2, 3 years with this goal in my head, I've tolerated not achieving that goal. So in 2026, am I still going to tolerate not achieving that goal? Or is this the year that I'm going to burn the boats and I'm going to go all in and I'm going to do it?
Mhm.
So it's along the same lines of like the standards question. It's really like asking yourself, like, am I going to do this or not?
Yeah.
And you just have to be real with yourself.
Because once you truly do figure out what and what you're not going to tolerate, you're going to have a lot of motivation and then once you reach that goal, you're going to feel so good about it's just going to be so worth it in the end because you're going to be like, wow, I really did that after procrastinating it for so long and it was really worth it.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that just came into my mind related to that is like time's going to pass anyways, right? So like you set a goal and you either do it or you don't, but like time's going to go by anyways. And I actually thought about this when I was doing my 12 days of fitness
Mhm.
fundraiser. I get to the end and I looked back and I was like, man, that was like it was hard. There were days I didn't want to do it, but like we're on the 12th day. I did it And regardless if I did the workouts or didn't do the workouts, well, I did them every day, but meaning like if I were to or were not to do the goal, that like time was going to pass anyways. So like you might as well just commit. If
Mhm.
you want to do it, like just do it. Like time's going to pass, and when you get to the end, it's going to feel so rewarding
Yeah.
knowing that like you made the plan, you stuck to it, and like you did it.
Because it just really it shows yourself that like you're capable of doing hard things, and doing hard things is really rewarding in the end.
It 100% is. And then that it gets back into like you hit your goals, like you build your confidence, you build your motivation, and then you can like set bigger and bigger goals and more goals. So it
Mhm.
just like it starts to snowball.
Yeah, I love that.
You can get out of control and create this crazy life.
Yeah. So what are you not willing to tolerate this year?
That's a great question. Uh, I'm I'm going all in 2026 on a lot of areas, and I'm not willing to tolerate myself giving up on my goals and lack of consistency.
Mm.
So like I think one of my biggest things that hold me back from meeting a lot of my goals is being consistent. Um, I do the thing, 3 out of 5 days a week or something like that. But like this year, I'm not willing to tolerate like inconsistency. Like
Mhm.
when I say I'm gonna do something, it's gonna be like super consistent. I'm gonna build a plan and I'm gonna do it regardless.
Yeah, I love that. I 100% agree. And for me, I have a similar one, but it's a little different. I'm not tolerating procrastination
Mm,
because I am a little bit of a procrastinator, and every time I do it, I regret it all the time. And that's just one thing that I need to get out of this year. And
mm,
it's a really bad habit that I need to eliminate.
yeah. So this is actually kind of cool. Like when you're setting goals and doing this stuff, like we both had to be like you have to be real with yourself. You have to be vulnerable and look deep and understand like what are some things that like really are uncomfortable,
Mhm.
but like you have to face those things and like tackle them head on. And
Mm.
once you do, you're going to get to the other side and feel awesome. But you do in the moment of like setting the goals and asking yourself, what am I not willing to tolerate and what are my new standards? Like you have to get vulnerable. You have to make yourself uncomfortable.
Because to me, procrastinating is uncomfortable itself, but also the realization of that I need to stop procrastinating is uncomfortable because now that I've told myself that I'm going to stop
Mm,
procrastinating, I know that I need to stop.
yeah,
So it's like no more.
that's right. Because now you're aware of it. Like
Yeah.
you've put a label on it, and once you put a label on it, like you'll be aware of it like all the time.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
I think one more example of something that I'm not tolerating this year is negative self-talk. I
Mm,
have a tendency to bring myself down and be negative to myself, but this year I'm really going to trying to take the positive mindset route and just be really kind to myself.
that's awesome. I love that. Everyone should be kind to themselves because you're always listening to yourself
Mhm.
and your mind will believe no matter what you tell it.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Mhm.
So we have a challenge for you, the audience, of course. We've been doing this the last few episodes. So with the 2026 here, new goals, new person, new standards, emotions, motivation, all that stuff. Um, we want you to write down one standard in the comments that you're going to set this year. So think about like go re-review the show and think of a standard that you're going to set this year that you're going to live by, and whenever you're in the moment, like asking the question of like, do I really want to do this? What's the standard you're going to say that you're willing to accept?
Mhm. And really just dig deep and think about it because you really want to make this standard something that you're going to live by
Mm-hmm.
and not just some silly little standard. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Just get vulnerable, be real, think about your goals, take some time, get yourself in a nice, comfy place, have a cup of coffee, get your notebook out or something, and just get in the space of like, what's the standard that I'm going to live to this year?
Yeah, and really just dig deep in what's going to be your priority and what at the end of the day is going to make you happy. and what's going to make you feel the best.
That's right. Because 2026 is going to pass whether you like it or not. So you might as well do the thing.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining this week. Here's to an awesome year. Go out, crush your goals, and just don't let your feelings fly the plane. Just do it, and you're going to feel awesome. And as we look at 2027.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm turning 17 in 2026, Dad.
I'm turning 47.
Oh my gosh.
I think.
Well, that's your sign that time's gonna pass.
Time passes regardless, so do the thing.
Do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Okay, thank you for tuning in this week and have a good New Year.
Yeah.